Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
I don't know why. Today's got good vibes today. I should be fucking furious. My baseball team sucks. We got walked off again. Put up 5 Ernies on the best pitcher in baseball and still lose. That's almost impossible. Very much a Thursday episode full with family feud. And from what I'm gathering, Dallas, they're trying to fuck us. You're never going to believe this, but they're trying to fuck us today.
Yeah, boys got caught up in the group chat is all I'm going to say. Once again, these slimy bastards revealed their serpent selves to be exactly who and what they are. Just low-bellied snakes in the grass looking for a moment to try to coil up and
I think Jay Hay this morning, I don't know if you were up early enough, but Jay Hay thought he was texting Jake on the side and actually texted the BID group text. And he said, this one's going to be fucking impossible. And then he unsent the text message.
Oh, yeah. I didn't catch that. Oh, that's what that little, that's why the space is there between.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you got to be up early. You got to be up grinding to catch that kind of stuff. It's not for everybody, you know?
Right.
Rise and grind.
That's
every
right.
day.
Me and Jay Hay are on that fucking 6 a.m. dad correspondence. You know, like we're up making sure that the fridge is running. We're making sure that the sprinklers are on. We're getting the paper off the front porch.
I think you sent me your pick'em at 6:50 the other day. I was like, let's fucking do this, man. I was like, I'm in my prime right now. Yeah, hell yeah, I'll submit this.
Getting ready for lunch.
Yeah, that's that dad shit. What you know about that, DB? You don't know shit about that. Meg runs that house. You don't do a goddamn thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Underdog just dropped their playoff basketball promo. With the extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boost, and you're going to want to see how serious it gets when that game 7 hits. And it's going to hit on Monday, right, Jake?
Monday night, it's going to hit.
Monday night, it's going to hit. Hop on Underdog, the best place to make picks during playoff basketball, and get started right now. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared. That's JARED to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. How are you going to handle Friday? Because so the Red Sox are doing they're unveiling their new City Connects this weekend, and there's like a City Connect unveiling party that me, Jake, Coley, and Tyler are invited to, not Steve. Steve's not invited. Not because of me. I'm just saying. Like, I just saw the guest list and Steve's not on it.
That makes you warm and fuzzy inside, doesn't it?
No, I don't enjoy that at all.
No?
No. No, I'm broken up about it because Steve cares about the jerseys probably more than any of us on that show.
So then you have no problem giving him your ticket.
No, I need to be there to cover it. You know, like I think it's my responsibility with the biggest Red Sox platform in the world. I have to be there. Coley can't come. Unfortunately, I believe he has a prior engagement. So that's just a spot wasted. I mean, no one's going to be using his spot. Jake's going to be there. Obviously loves the City Connects. He's big into that stuff. But it's just unfortunate that Steve can't be there. I don't know. He's going to the game though. Man,
that's tough. Like if only you could find a way to get an extra ticket or maybe a ticket that's not being used into Steve's hands.
Well, it's not my call. I don't make those decisions.
You'll be able to wave. You'll be able to wave to him though, right?
Yeah, he'll be there. Yeah, he's coming to the game. So we'll see him after. But as far as I know, he's not on the guest list.
You'd probably hit him with a FaceTime.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I'm probably gonna be like taking pictures. Like it's more of like a visual experience. You obviously want to document being there and being able to give access to the fans. Like, what do the jerseys look like? Some reaction. How do you feel about them? Stuff like that. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to FaceTime them, but I'll tell them about it. Mm-hmm.
Man, that is tough.
Yeah. Well,
maybe you like recapping the experience for him, like debriefing him could be its own social video.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of walking through what he missed.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, just kind of the stuff that happened to you guys. And like,
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, no problem. Not a problem at all. I think what I was originally getting
Call
at
produce.
was game 6. This is probably a dumb question. The winner of the Knicks Celtics series, did they go to the finals or there's another round?
Well,
Winner
They go
goes
to
to
the
the
Eastern
finals?
Conference
No.
Finals.
Oh, winner goes to the Eastern. This isn't even the Eastern Conference Finals?
This is the
sadly,
semis.
no.
No,
God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
it's basically the
and
play-in
they-
tournament.
And like they call it the semis, you could call it the second round too, which makes it sound even less like cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Well,
the Pacers are waiting. The Indiana Pacers.
This
Okay.
can't be the semifinals.
Why?
Well, it's the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's
Technically,
that's,
next round would be the NBA semifinals. But nobody
Semifinals.
calls it that. Yeah.
that's stupid.
Well,
yeah.
Jake and I are just telling you what these things are called. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Celtics are a better team without Jason Tatum, and everyone knows that. So I feel like if I were a betting man, I would put some scratch. I'll put some. Actually, from what I heard, this event that they're doing at Fenway, they're giving away $10,000 cash at the door to everyone who shows up. I might just flip that and put it on the Celtics.
You know how many jerseys
Wow.
you could? You know how many jerseys you could buy with $10,000?
I'm still waiting to get my free one.
Yeah, I know. I like I said, if we can ever come up with footage of that bet transpiring, real footage, trustable footage that isn't clearly AI. Yeah, you know me. The individual who will be the
And the
2024 MVP, and that fella has also garnered MVP votes. He goes by the name of Matt Olson.
Mm.
That is going to be your 2024 MVP. Only
I mean,
AI.
he's not even the most valuable player on his own team.
I don't care.
Well,
I
he's
don't-
not going to win the award.
No, you don't know that. We don't
No,
know
I
that. We
I
don't know
do.
that. You're talking about a guy
Jersey
who
bet.
led the fucking
Jersey
game
bet.
in baseball.
Jersey bet. Jersey bet.
Jersey
bet.
Who finishes higher in the MVP voting? Let's do
Yeah.
that. Who finishes higher in
All
the
right.
MVP voting?
All right.
Clearly
Freddie
not
Freeman
Level.
versus Matt Olson.
This is beautiful. That's
Yes.
a great bet.
Yes. Oh, yes. Matty, oh, you son of a bitch. I'll fucking text him right now.
Yo, this dude hit 54 homers and drove in a $139 with a
And got-
993 OPS and finished fourth.
I know.
By the way, shout out to Garrett. I mean, I knew immediately Garrett was going to be able to dig this up. He did. That was the Jersey bet. I'm looking at it here. The MVP voting went
Digging up the AI.
Shohei
And all the
Ohtani,
drop-ins.
Francisco Lindor, Ketel Marte, Marcelo Zuna, William Contreras, Bryce Harper, Chris Sale, Ellie De La Cruz, Jack Samaro, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Zach Wheeler, Mookie Betts, Jurickson Profar, Kyle Schwarber, Manny Machado, Freddie Freeman at 17. Did not see Matt Olson in there.
Yeah, see, so neither one of them finished in the top 10, which nullified
Yeah, that's not,
the entire...
that's not what the bet was. It was who
deal,
finishes
which is-
higher in the MVP voting.
that's a
And,
tough-
that would
that's
be
a tough
Freddie Freeman,
caveat,
which means
but,
that
you know,
I win.
nuance,
I win.
Details.
Very excited for my Dontrell Willis jersey.
they matter.
Yeah, I think, do they do custom? They must. Like, I don't know. I
They matter.
like, because what Marlins jersey would you pick, Jay Hay? They've got kind of a bunch of, you obviously want it to be a jersey that the player wore, but you also want to make it wearable yourself.
I feel like I'm constitutionally opposed to wearing a Marlins jersey, actually, from
Why is that?
1997.
Oh.
Not
Got
very
it.
interesting.
No, I
to
got
be
it.
honest. Yeah, because all of the players that I would want to choose are probably from that. Maybe a Beckett. Maybe a Beckett,
That'd be cool.
because I don't care about the 03 World Series.
That was a fun one. Didn't watch a second of it, but I've seen the highlights.
Juan Pierre.
Yeah,
Mhm.
nasty.
Miguel Cabrera was on that team, yeah.
Maybe Giancarlo Stanton. Maybe a Stanton Marlins. Like, is that cool now?
I have a Stanton Marlins jersey.
But you're not putting that up on the wall, right?
I mean, I could auction that off because that is a starting 9 digital show game worn.
I'm not saying it doesn't have value. I'm saying, isn't the standard to go up on your wall that it has to be like a jersey? Isn't that what you're pursuing?
I don't know that I have standards anymore, Jay Hay.
Well, all right.
Clear.
Anyway, I think Dontrell is the best answer,
Yeah.
despite me naming a bunch of other people. Charles Johnson.
Great
Johnson
catcher. One of the best.
lived in the same
Good.
house that Charles Johnson lived in Kane County, Illinois.
You lived in Illinois?
Hey,
I did.
That Jay Hay lived there too.
wait, where in Kane County did you live?
What do you want, a fucking street name, pal?
No, I want,
Kane
like-
County.
Do you remember the town? Was it Geneva?
Kane County.
He doesn't.
Well, I mean,
know.
that's a county.
Okay, well, that's where I live.
That's fine. I didn't know if you had more. I mean, I know
that's
Kane
all I
County
got.
Cougars. I
Shout
understand.
out Pam. Does that help? She drove an Enclave. Does that help?
That does.
That's all.
That does not
that's
help.
all I
But
got.
that was my very first gig covering baseball, was stringing for a local newspaper, covering, among other things, the Kane County Cougars. The Cougars
Let's
was the
go.
coolest assignment that I got. Everything else was
Yeah.
like high school JV varsity stuff. When I got Cougars games, I was like, let's do this. Got to sit in the press box and stuff. I was too nervous to go in and interview players, but that was technically something I was supposed to be doing. But yeah.
Dude, Kane County was sick. Like during the summer, bro, that place would be fucking packed. I'm talking like when I left, because that was low A. When I left low A and then got to Stockton, like in high A the next year, like there was a definitive drop off in. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because that was the first year of baseball in Stockton at the new ballpark, so we had a shitload
The
of fans
Stockton
coming out every
Ports,
night.
shout him out.
Yeah, shout out the Stockton Ports. They but the amount of people that were at this low A game, it was crazy. And like, not to fanboy, but like Dontrell's picture was on the fucking outfield wall with Josh Beckett and Charles Johnson and just, all these guys that had made it to the big leagues.
Yep.
Because the transition to franchises had just happened. And then, obviously a few years later, meeting Train and then becoming boys. And it was just like, damn, dude, like living in Charles Johnson's, host family's house. And like, I was just like, I got to get to the big leagues. Got to get to the big leagues. It's right here. And I was fucking low A.
That's awesome though. That's it's funny because I saw Henry Rodriguez there, which I think I've mentioned to you before.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's 1,000 miles an hour off the backstop and then just dotted.
Yeah. I saw Sean Doolittle as a first baseman.
Yeah.
Sean Doolittle, huh?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there was some. I was only there for like literally half of one summer, but it was cool stuff. Yeah. Anyway, shout out Kane County. My brother still lives in Geneva, has a house in Geneva, so wonderful area.
Wow.
Maybe that's where I live, Geneva. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's probably that is the town where I believe, unless I'm mistaken, but it's I believe it's Geneva where the stadium is located.
Okay. Yeah, down the street from Cherry Bombs. Shout out Cherry Bombs.
Mm.
That sounds like an illicit place.
It's not a daycare.
Double check some information here real quick. 2010 poll, it was revealed that Stockton was tied with Montgomery, Alabama for the most obese metro area in the country with an obesity rate of 34.6%. In 2012, Forbes ranked Stockton as the 8th most miserable city in the country, likely due to the crime rates, the obesity, and the unemployment rates, among other reasons. Stockton was also ranked the 10th most dangerous city in the country and the 2nd most dangerous city in the state of California, trailing only the city of Oakland. Shockingly enough, Stockton is also the 3rd least literate city in the country.
Those are all made up statistics.
Well, I mean, if you want to do your own independent research, we'd be happy to share the findings with the audience.
Yeah, it's just I know what sort of path that city has traveled, and it's on the up and up.
Do
I'll
they
hear
know?
nothing.
They can't read. I don't know that they know what path they've traveled.
I'll hear nothing else.
Bunch of fatties over there. Anyways,
Just
would you rather be someone who can't read, or would you rather be an Orioles fan? That's the question I'm posing today.
yeah. I'd rather not read because then you just don't know how bad it is.
They're going through it right now. the Baltimore Orioles. All right, we're in mid-May, which it's not late, but it's not early. So there's been suggestions. I know Connor threw it out there. Do we open the phone lines for Rockies fans? I don't know that Rockies fans have anger because, like, yes, it's embarrassing, but they're the Rockies, and I think Rockies fans understand that. With Orioles fans, if we were to open the phone lines, there has to be anger. Everyone was sucking the Orioles balls the last 2-3 years here with the 101 win season. You've got the manager of the year. You've got all these top prospects, and you trade for Corbin Burns, and you're off and running. You are the next great dynasty. Everyone's talking about you as that you took the Astros model minus the cheating, and you're off and running towards a World Series title, maybe a couple of them. And now look where we're at. We are in a dire situation, which maybe there is no overcoming this at this point. 15-26, a .366 winning percentage, and a -70 run differential. My question to you guys, do we open the phone lines for the Orioles fans?
Initial knee-jerk reaction is yes. But it's all like, I don't know. Right away, I feel like we can also anticipate and predict what we're going to get to. And that
but
is
it's
of no
cathartic,
fault.
right? It's cathartic.
Yes, absolutely. And it is of no fault of their own, the fans, that it's predictable, the sort of emotion. And I do think that it's good to have outlets. You need outlets. Like, where else are they going to be able to spill this out and share this in a place where they are completely and freely understood, and they can release and be great on the other side of it. Like, I mean, not the team, unfortunately, but them emotionally.
I'm going to take it a step further. It has been I think I was a gatekeeping the last time we talked about opening the phone lines, maybe for Cardinals fans. It has been a very, very long time since we have opened the phone lines for a beleaguered fan base. And I think not only should we open them for the Orioles, I was thinking about this, like, who is the most depressing situation and why. I honest to God was thinking about this as I was dropping my kids off this morning. What is the most depressing situation as a fan base? I think we should open it up for Orioles fans. I'm taking it a step further. I think we should open it up for White Sox fans. I think that's overdue. I think it's overdue to open them up for Pirates fans. I think that's justified. And I think the Rockies are I think we should open it up for Rockies fans, because you can say there's no anger, but I'm interested to hear voicemails of people that sound defeated too. And 7-36 is, I believe, the worst start in modern baseball history. And if that's not good enough for the phone lines, I don't know what is. So I think we open them up for all sorts of teams. That's my take.
Wow.
J.A. is an empty cauldron just begging for all of your fucking negative
I want your
ooze.
tears. I want your tears. I thrive on them. That's how I hydrate.
He fuels himself off of depression. Your depression.
So yes,
your depression.
Orioles and other teams would be my take.
Wow.
Man. I mean, that's a week. That's a week.
Dude,
that's a week.
It's been like a year and a half since we've opened up. Legitimately, Garrett, get on that. When is the last time that we opened up the phone lines? It has been a really, really, really long time.
It has.
I agree. It has. I think the bar was too high last year. There were definitely situations where we could have opened
White
the
Sox.
phone lines. Yeah, the White Sox being a prime example of that. But yeah, I like a little mixed bag of phone lines being opened up. Yeah, why not?
Dude, just open up the phone lines over the weekend or whatever, and just come into Monday with just a jam-packed sack of complaints.
Yeah. Just start your week with a bunch of bitching.
Yeah. That's how everybody feels on a Monday anyway. Let's just lean into that.
Yeah.
What did you say? Rockies, Orioles, and who?
I think Rockies, Orioles, Pirates. I think we owe White Sox fans. I think there's a backlog. It's not like they're fucking good this year.
No.
They're 14-29, so I think we owe them for this year and last year. I'd be willing to hear it for Marlins fans if that situation. I think that's obviously a trash situation. They could be thrown in the mix. I think that's probably where I would cut the list off. But I think those 5 or 6 teams, however many I just named, definitely belong.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm down for it.
I'm inclined. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. If Monday is
Glad I
just an
sold you guys.
absolute
Yeah.
complaint fest, yes. Yes. And thank God this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Thank God.
Good call.
Yeah. Let's talk numbers. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session, which adds up fast. But with BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and time. Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. With online therapy, you get online quality care at a price that makes sense and can help you with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. Your mental health is worth it, and now it's within reach. Take it from me. Been an online therapy guy since 2019. I'm a pre-pandemic online therapy guy. I build it into my schedule. If I'm busy, I make time for it. You can make time for it too. No excuses. Do yourself a favor. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. It's convenient too. You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. I've done it 3 times. I've had 3 different therapists in my life. Your well-being is worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/baseball to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball. 10% off your first month. Great deal. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of Baseball's Dead. Let's talk about, obviously, yes, let's open up the phone lines for Orioles fans, but we can't just gloss over the fact that the Twins swept the Orioles and are on a 10-game winning streak. If there's Twins fans listening to the pod right now being like, you fucking kidding me? You're going to talk about how shitty they are, but you can't talk about how great we are. We are going to talk about how great you are, because the Minnesota Twins have hauled off 10 consecutive victories. I know if you look at the overall record, you're like, okay, cool. They needed 10 straight wins to get 3 games over 500. Yeah, that's true, but they still got there. They still did what they needed to do in order to get back over 500. Would you consider, Jay Hay, as a fan of the Cleveland Guardians, the AL Central to be a competitive division? Is that a fair statement?
Oh, I think it's an extremely competitive division. I think outside of the bottom team, it's one of the most competitive divisions in baseball. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to walk away with like a handful of juggernaut teams coming out of the Central, but you are going to get 4 somewhat evenly matched teams where there's going to be a jump ball for that, either the division or a wild card spot to come out of the AL Central.
I mean, I believe somebody can fact check me on this after the fact, but I believe that going into last season, the Twins were the betting favorites to win the AL Central, and I believe Fangraphs had them as the statistical favorite. They were not the betting favorite, but they were the odds-on favorite in terms of percentage odds to win the division this year. So whether you agree or disagree with either of those, the point is that they've very much been in the mix, and that it's very fluid between the 4 teams that are not the White Sox.
In fairness, and to kind of pat ourselves on the back here, I don't think any of us bought into the preseason or whatever the Vegas odds makers looked at the Minnesota Twins. None of us on this show looked at them similarly.
No, in either season, I don't think. I mean, entering 2024, I believe they reduced payroll by $30 million coming off of a division championship and dropped from 1st to 4th. And I frankly didn't really understand I mean, it was very close in the AL Central, obviously, in terms of preseason odds, but I didn't really understand that number entering this season. I think that they're 23-20 and .535 winning percentage. I think that's definitely within the realm of possibilities for this team. I'm just kind of interested, like, in terms of a discussion point, to me, the offense is just not even more interesting, but just more of like a will they or won't they question than the pitching staff, which I think is filled with like a lot of proven commodities. I think we know who Pablo Lopez is. I think we know who Joe Ryan is, Bailey Ober, in good ways. I think we know who those players are. Yeah, for sure. Like, this is not being dismissive. That's like,
No.
those guys are three of the, I mean, I didn't prepare this, but like 20 best pitchers in the AL. Like off the top, maybe better, maybe 15. It's one of the best front threes in the AL. If you're into depth in your front three instead of maybe your number one being the absolute best. But the offense to me is where the question marks are, because not even question marks, but like moving forward, what are we going to get? Because as we've outlined many times when we talk about the Twins, the pillars, the most important contributors on this offense are just kind of built on fragile ground. And Byron Buxton's been awesome so far, and we all love when Byron Buxton is awesome and playing. But, you know, him, Correa, Royce Lewis, who has been, I mean, when he's hot, he's as good as they come, or as hot as they get, but he has been absolutely brutal since he returned. You know, what are you getting out of those guys? It's still a little unclear.
They are pretty close to being a bottom third offense by OPS, the Minnesota Twins. Hadn't slowed them down to this point. So
no, I mean, that's credit to them. And when we talk about the competitiveness of the division, it just feels like, and I feel this way about the NL too, like the central divisions, it just feels like those are games that are always going to be closely played against each other. Those are games that it just feels like shake out differently. There's never that huge imbalance. I mean, maybe there is, and I'm just talking out of the side of my neck, but it just feels like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like this division without a doubt. What's that?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to follow up. Sorry.
No, it does. It just feels like, and like we're talking about with the Twins, maybe a lackluster offense, but what the pitching is providing for them right now, especially these last few turns during this stretch. I mean, I think it's okay to say this is why it's happening, and you're looking for more offensively, no question. But is this a pitching staff? Is that front three? Because they just sent Simeon Woods Richardson down.
Yeah.
Is this a front three, and whoever they're going to plug in there, you know, Paddock starts to come along. Okay. But I think the pitching staff is more than capable of handling the load.
Yeah, fourth best overall ERA during in baseball during the 10-game win streak. So definitely been carrying part of it.
Joe Ryan's got a fucking sub-1, I think, over his last 3 starts.
Yeah, Joe Ryan's nasty for sure.
Very much so. Well, do you give the Twins any shot of making the postseason?
I mean, I think Dallas was onto something with the, like, it seems like there's a shuffling or whatever in the central divisions, because like I think that's a natural result of all these teams building rosters that are essentially targeting 85 to 92 wins, right? Like, so you are going to get this year to year kind of fluctuation. There's no team that's necessarily built to win 100 games. You're not going to get that stratification in the division unless you have a team committed to losing like the White Sox are, but in the other 4, you're not going to. I know I hate like giving attention to a team that we don't spend a lot of time talking about and then ending it on a negative note or like a pessimistic note. But I still look at these rosters and I still see this as, you know, I think it can be better than the Guardians. I just don't think it's going to be better than all 3 of these teams, particularly with the lead that the Tigers have mounted. What I think is maybe not a more interesting question, but an interesting follow-up is, did we overrate some of the teams outside of the Central in the AL? And does that give the Twins and maybe the Royals and maybe the Guardians a path to winning wild card spots that we didn't think were going to be available to the AL Central? Because like the Red Sox objectively don't look as good as I thought they would, and a lot of people thought they would. The Orioles are obviously trash. Or have real issues that are going to persist long enough into the season to make them not a real threat to make the playoffs. I think the Rays are currently worse than I thought they would be. And I think the AL West, as we've covered, is just generally more mediocre in a lot of ways than we thought. So like, to me, the pathway for the Twins to make the postseason I think the wild card is more viable than it felt like on opening day.
It's fair. The wild card right now, I know it's crazy to look at the wild card mid-May, but the AL Central is very much represented. The Detroit Tigers, who just kicked the shit out of the Red Sox, swept their sorry asses in Detroit, are leading their division. The first wild card team, the Cleveland Guardians. The second wild card team, the Kansas City Royals. And now, after 10 straight victories, the Minnesota Twins have leapfrogged the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers for that third wild card spot. So it is nothing but AL Central teams. 4 AL Central teams would make the playoffs if the playoffs started today. 4. Does that ever happen? I don't think that's ever happened.
No.
No.
But to your point, like the wild card equity in the division in terms of percentage has basically doubled since the start of the season. So for basically all 4 of the non-White Sox teams, and the Twins have a 40% chance to clinch the wild card right now, which is more than double what it was to start the year. So even the computers that were favorable to the Twins overall view that wild card path as a lot more likely than it was before, which I think feels right given what we just talked about.
Yeah. Does it feel right that the Rockies got swept in there 7-36?
It does feel right. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
About right.
There is like a pinch me element to it that we have a team this bad again, but it does feel correct when you look at the roster
and that it's not the White Sox again.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, do you remember like what I don't remember 2 weeks ago when you asked the question on the podcast, like, when are the Rockies going to start getting the attention that the White Sox got for how bad they are? Do you remember asking that question?
I do.
Does it? I mean, I think
still
the
don't
answer
feel that way.
now. Oh, come on!
I don't feel that way. We were doing. Here's the all-time record. Here's what the White Sox are on pace for.
I feel like that's happening nationally now.
I think we are doing a good job of that.
Yes, we are.
I don't really see a lot of that, or as much as we did for the White Sox as we do for the Rockies this year.
Yeah, there haven't been the Cleveland Spider comparisons like that. But also I think that's because there's some exhaustion surrounding that because that conversation was happening. Fatigue. Yeah, the run differential conversation around the Athletics a couple years ago.
Yeah,
like it all is.
Wasn't
like
that the same? That was the same year as the White Sox. No.
Yeah.
Like the A's got off to such a bad start. We thought they were going to be the fucking worst team of all time. Then the White Sox were like, hold on a damn minute, and then the Rockies were like, we have something to say about that.
I feel like the quantity. I feel like the quantity of conversation around the Rockies has like really, really increased over the last week. Did you see the CBS News Colorado thing? They ran. So this is obviously local to the Rockies. They ran a graphic because the Rockies are the worst team in the modern era. So since 1901, 1900, whatever. Things that didn't exist in 1901.
5 U.S. states, sliced bread, the Titanic, women's suffrage, and the airplane. Women's suffrage, I believe, is the 19th Amendment. Jake, check the 19th Amendment.
Giving women the right to vote.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, look that up.
You nailed it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. That's because I respect women so much. I think that's one thing that doesn't get pointed out nearly enough on this podcast. You want to talk about talking like, oh, we don't talk about the Rockies sucking enough. We don't talk about me respecting women enough. And
do you want me to make that like a weekly segment in the rundown?
Yeah,
just like an example of you respecting women that we can share.
Yeah, yeah, I would like that.
Okay.
Yeah, add that to the rundown because I don't know. I think I can safely say I don't know that anyone else in the podcast knew that women's suffrage was the 19th Amendment. But I digress. Yeah, 1901. Wouldn't that have been the first year of the World Series?
Not even.
No? Are you sure? 1903? No, 1901 was the first World Series.
World Series?
Yeah. Am I stupid? It's either 1903 or 1901.
No, it's 1903.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Were the Red Sox established
you would have
1901?
gotten that one right if you respected World Series.
Well,
like you respect women. That's how much you respect women.
What
more
year
than World Series
were the Red Sox established? 1901. Okay, so that's where I got fucking confused. The Red Sox were established in 1901, and they won the first ever World Series in 1903. That's where I got confused. I have so much information in my brain that sometimes it's like, it's kind of like this big storage room. And you're like, oh man, is like my useful information over here or is it over here? I know it's in a trunk down here. Is it in a shelf up there? The information's all there. It just came out jumbled. I don't need you guys jumping down my throat over it, you know? Dallas, what's the 18th Amendment?
I didn't
I have
jump
not said anything.
What's the 18th Amendment, Dallas?
Where you have to have Tabasco sauce on the breakfast diner tables.
Now you got me thinking about diners. I love a good diner. I love a good breakfast experience. The best part about dining in a diner is if you're a regular, that feeling of sitting down and then they just plop down the drink that you always get. And then 20 minutes later, they come over with the order that you always get. There's nothing like it. You know, DB. That's pretty much all they have in Stockton is fucking diners and McDonald's, fat fucks.
No, that's not true. Not true. A lot of fine dining experiences there.
No, there's not. No, there's not.
A ton.
No, name one.
Shout out Lincoln Center.
Name one.
Outback
Steakhouse.
Midgley's.
Oh God, yeah.
Yep. What's the other one? Like table.
Bennigan's?
Sacramento farm to table capital of the world.
Waffle House.
No Waffle House.
No Waffle House in Stockton. That's shocking.
There's like 4 or 5 places in Lincoln Center that I do not know the name of, but that are very good.
I haven't heard the word Bennigan's.
Waffle House. If you got a problem with someone in Stockton, you settle it at the Waffle House down the street.
Yeah,
that's what you guys do. Pathetic. I see on the rundown here that Jay Hay wanted to talk about the Tigers sweeping the Red Sox. I don't.
Well,
I don't want to do that.
Again, it less of what I want to do and more options. So you're declining that option.
It's optional. Yeah. It's optional.
You are declining the option to talk about how they got 5 runs off of the reigning Triple Crown pitching winner and still lost.
Yeah. So I think
even
Steve
with an acrobatic catch.
Yeah, Steve brought this up last night because I know you guys. I don't really know him personally. I've interviewed him once or twice on the show.
Steve or
Tim Kirchin.
Oh yeah.
So Steve brought up the point that on the broadcast, Wilyer Abreu jumped up to rob a home run, knocked it down and into the hands of Rafaela, the center fielder, and he had never seen it before. But Mike Monaco is a young guy, the Red Sox broadcaster. So he said, "I'm going to text Tim Kirchin right now to see if he's ever seen this before because he has seen everything." And Tim had not seen a play like that before. The right fielder going up to knock down or attempt to rob a home run, but knocking it back into the field of play and then caught by the center fielder, had never seen it before. So yeah, there were some good things that happened for the Red Sox. They just happened to lose every single game in embarrassing fashion. They got blown out in the first game. They got walked off in the next 2. It was an embarrassing series for the Red Sox where they did some cool stuff. That's pretty much it.
That's tough. That's tough. There's still is it fair to say that there's still a lot of grown men that have a lot of ironing out to do in that clubhouse?
Ironing out in what regard?
Oh, I don't know. That's just kind of how it was phrased early on by some folks very, very close to the goings on, to the inner workings of the room. And so I'm asking you now.
Yeah.
Does that still ring true?
I don't know if you were paying attention like 5 minutes ago when I said I don't want to talk about the series. Did you hear me say that?
Yeah, no, but I just like
I don't know. It sounds like no. It sounds like you didn't hear me say that because you're asking me questions about the series that I said that I don't want to talk about. So if you have a question for Jay Hay,
this is actually not.
If you have
about
a question
the
for
series.
Jay Hay, he's right there.
It's not about the series.
This is disrespectful to Jay Hay. oh, Jay, I don't respect like what you have to say about the Red Sox. Let me ask Jared all the questions. Ask Jay a fucking question.
Didn't you just, I mean,
you talking to me or Jay
ago, talking
when
about
you say
you,
who's you?
I'm talking to you, Mr. I've got the largest Red Sox platform in the world.
I didn't say that. Say that. Jake said that.
Directly out of
Jake
your
said
mouth.
that.
So
Jake
I was just
that.
asking, not a series take, not a series perspective, but after this series, zooming out, feels like if we're talking about a pair of pants, Jared, feels like the Red Sox are a pair of pants that have been crumpled up in the bathroom corner for 3 weeks. Just tons of wrinkles that need to be ironed out. And I was asking if that's still true, because that was the internal assessment.
Are you asking me because you know it's true? Or are you asking because you really don't know?
I want to know your opinion on this. That's all. And I think our listeners would appreciate your opinion, your perspective.
I'm sure that they would, but I said I didn't. I was not going to talk about this here. There's so much other stuff. There's so much other stuff to talk about on the fucking rundown. You're wasting everyone's time. Like, is this a mid-May series? Is that like a big deal to people? I don't think so. I don't think anyone cares. They want to know, like, does Tarek Skubal pitch well? No, he didn't.
Sounds like this series has caused some serious drama for you, trauma for you, because I continue to outline that this is just a question, an overarching question.
You're asking like on behalf of the listeners. This isn't something that you specifically, Dallas Braden, are asking me, Jared Carrabis.
Correct.
Okay. Well, then I don't care. I mean, you're my friend. I would answer a question that you had for me, but I don't know these people. Why would I answer their questions? I don't know. That's crazy to me. So we can move on.
Heartless.
No, I don't know. I don't see the value in it. Jake, do you?
No, we got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's move off this.
So much stuff, dude. Like, first of all, you twice have insulted Justin Havens. First, you didn't ask him his opinion on the series, and you know he has opinions. He probably has a bunch of statistical information that he prepared for the show today. Also, the time that Jay Hay takes in the morning to put together the rundowns, that there's a bunch of different topics that we can discuss, and now you've taken how many minutes on a series that no one cares about, no one wants to talk about, and you're just... We could be talking about the Guardians hiring Corey Kluber.
Yeah, we could.
And we're not. Why aren't we? Why aren't we? Because Dallas is dragging his fucking ass this morning.
Because I think it's important for somebody like yourself to give our listeners your unfiltered
Name one listener. One of their names that you care about them so much. What's one of their names?
Garrett.
What's his last name?
Mashburn.
All right. But whatever, dude. I don't. This is not going well.
You know what I am interested in though with the Red Sox or like that I got to browsing while you guys were doing your thing is like what starting pitcher they could possibly trade for. Because I know we talked about like maybe getting bullpen assets in the interim or whatever, but like I feel like having watched the slide that's happened, I just feel like they probably need another starting pitcher that you're
Charlie
comfortable.
Morton, come on down.
But Jay, who wants to go there? Jay, hey, they're ironing shit without an iron that's plugged in. They're ironing with an ice cold iron. It's just all the wrinkles.
What about a Freddie Peralta?
I mean, I've advocated for that for many years, and I don't know where the Brewers at right now.
Well, they're 21-23, but they've got a 15% chance to make the postseason. Freddie Peralta has a club option for $8 million next year, and then is a free agent.
Jay, hey, let's ask the real question here.
Yeah.
Can Freddie play first?
No, he cannot. But
they should be asking that question to Tanner Houck, by the way.
Maybe it's a combo deal. Maybe it's a Freddie Peralta, Rhys Hoskins.
Ooh.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a little juicy. You get a righty bat, a little first base action. You know, got a nice. I like that deal, Jay Hay.
Thank you. I just came up with that right now.
Front office. Yeah, that's nice.
Thanks. I wouldn't want to leave you guys though, but I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah. You could do both, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're being honest. Yeah. All right, if that's all I want to say on the Red Sox, we can move on. I just think just the list, just people who could be trade assets. That's all.
Yeah, I like that trade. You know, another guy that they should entertain the idea of bringing on board would be recently designated for assignment, Austin Barnes. And I know that that's not the story. The story is Dalton Rushing getting promoted to the big leagues. Congratulations to Dalton on your big league promotion. I wish more teams would do that. Like, hey, we have this aging past his prime. We've got the next big thing, and we're not bringing the next big thing here because we have this guy. You know,
well,
there's plenty of teams like that they're in that situation.
But I think teams at times have to balance, their in game, which is making sure that the repetitions are there for their player who is going to hopefully impact them for the future. So, do you want that guy in the big leagues, but not playing consistently, not able to, tap into the routine that he's developed for himself? So when he gets to the big leagues, he can help and he can be the impact player that you want him to be. And so I think teams are always trying to find that balance between player development and where the player is at as far as a viable option in the big leagues, and trying to figure out where the impact is going to be or what level of impact they can realistically expect by taking a young guy and plugging him in as a backup to Will Smith, because that's essentially what that will be, but it's a platoon option. And so from there, you start to see, the flexibility behind it and why they consider it.
Dalton Rushing is obviously the more interesting part. I will believe that Austin Barnes is off of the Dodgers roster when they push his raft out into sea. I mean, you guys were saying sometimes you got to push the veteran out to make room for the young stud, or teams are hesitant to do that. I feel like, respectfully, the Dodgers gave Austin Barnes plenty of opportunity to hang on, and he has been like, I know it's a backup catcher is doing more things than what is your triple slash line or what is your objective level of productivity, but he has been like legitimately really bad as an offensive asset for like this being the third full season now. It's very hard to get the number of games that Austin Barnes got and plate appearances over the years and be as like statistically unproductive as Austin Barnes was. So happy trails to him, but I'm kind of excited to see what Dalton Rushing can do, even if it's just in kind of this part-time Will Smith caddy role for now.
Well, that's of note. We didn't get to the Ben Joyce stuff last pod. Not that he had gotten the surgery by last pod, but it was kind of like looking like that was going to be the case. Now we know for sure Ben Joyce season-ending surgery on his shoulder, which sucks. But
yeah, did we have a yeah? Is there a was there a specific injury listed?
What was it, Jay? Because it was. I think it was on the Monday episode or yesterday. There was something where it looked ominous for Ben Joyce's health.
Yeah, I mean, it's season-ending shoulder surgery. Obviously, I mean, I don't know that it was specified more than that. I mean, obviously, he had been dealing with the shoulder issue that led to that. I didn't see anything about like it's this type of shoulder surgery, and he's going to be out for this amount of time. Just that he underwent shoulder surgery.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Is like a specific injury.
Well, Ron,
like, is this a?
Washington said he doesn't know whether he'll be ready for spring training 2026.
Yeah,
that seems kind of obvious, I guess, if it's like season-ending shoulder surgery. But
season-ending. I mean, because I had like my first year, I had what was supposed to be season-ending shoulder surgery, but made it back in time to be able to, I think it pitched like 3 innings at the very end of the year. So I mean, hopefully something like that can happen where, it's just not as bad as they thought it was. It's not as extensive as they thought it might have to be, but that's why I was just trying to figure out a specific, because the shoulder, I mean, because for me, the reason I was lucky, the reason why things worked out the way they did is because it wasn't quite as bad as they thought it was going to be, right? There was some labral cleanup. There was some removal of the scar tissue that was constricting some my bicep tendon. And once that was taken care of and everything else healed up, and I had a chondral defect too. So they kind of had to grate over my bone with a cheese grater. But outside of that, I was fine. Like, things bounced back.
I'll be the cold water guy, or at least ask the question. Like, is this just not a profile like that can sustain itself? Like, we're talking about a guy who now will have thrown 131 innings through the end of the 2025 season, and if we're talking about missing chunks of 2026 too, then so 5 seasons he'll have thrown 130, 150 total innings. He's had season-ending shoulder surgery. He had Tommy John surgery. He's had a stress reaction in his stress fracture in his elbow. Like, I know it's
like the injuries go back to high school for him.
I know it's cool that he can throw 105. Like, I'd love for that to be a thing that you get to see all the time. But listen,
this is removing the player from this conversation, because we all genuinely appreciate what Ben Joyce is capable of doing. And that being said, I'm comfortable acknowledging Ben Joyce as the absolute physical freak that he is. When you look at Ben Joyce, this is a dude that is put together. That's a fucking horse. That is a full-grown man out there. A full-grown man. And he is almost a poster child for what I'm talking about when I say we are as big and as fast and as strong and as elite as movers as we've ever been as athletes, and even more specifically, baseball players, and even more specifically, pitchers. To be able to generate the force from the ground up that you are able to do is, we are seeing, like, with the rash of injury that we're dealing with, is it not time to just stick the hand up and go, right now and today and yesterday and last year and 2 years from now is the time where we are watching the human being cap out, like peak out. This is as hard as it's ever come out of anybody's hand. And we're watching what happens to the human body. And as physically fit and as strong as this dude is, he's a fucking ox, man. If you were just giving the eyeball test to anybody, this is a dude that'd be like, yeah, you could just kind of run him through a wall every day for 162 straight days, and he's going to feel fine on the other end of it. Like, he's going to look fine. And that's just, as we know, it's not the case, because then you have other guys who look like Pedro Martinez, right? Fucking pocket Pedro. Little guy out there just blowing 100 miles an hour for a decade plus. And he sustains. Why? How? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm not a biomechanist. But understanding what I understand, like, it sucks so bad, because these dudes are so good at what they do. So good. It's crazy that we haven't figured, and I guess it's not crazy, because science is science. That's why they call it practicing medicine, because it's not perfected by any stretch. Yeah, I don't know. I get all emotional about shit like this, because I want nothing more than these dudes to be able to do what they do for a living and enjoy it, because I love watching it, and I know what it's like to go through the struggle of being told, by your body that, hey, buddy, sorry, as much as you love it, you're fucking done. I just want to figure out what the hell is going on.
I mean, it's, I don't know, not to bring him up randomly, but like, kind of makes like Aroldis Chapman's career all the more impressive that
sure
he's out there blowing 102, 103, and knock on wood, no major injuries for him. He just kind of chugs right along, blowing 103 at 37 years old. Pretty crazy.
And he's and Ben Joyce as physically fit as Aroldis Chapman. Every bit. Like, Chapman is a physical freak. Chapman looks like he could fight in the heavyweight division right now. Ben Joyce, that dude too.
I didn't realize he was built like that. I thought he was kind of just like tall and athletic.
No, Ben Joyce is a fucking horse.
You've seen him shirtless?
No, but I've seen. Actually, have I seen him shirtless? No. I've seen him. I've seen him in very tight, sweaty undershirts, running around. Yeah, he's jacked, dude.
He is a big human. He's a large human. The Ron Washington comments were very pointed. I don't know if you saw these. Partly confusing, partly pointed. Yeah. Ron Washington. Well, we got this far without Ben Joyce, so we're going to have to figure it out. Where did you get, Ben? Ron. The Angels
as far as they've gotten.
Yeah. They're 17-25, last place, negative 67 run differential. So that part to me, I was like, huh.
Well,
but the second part, hopefully the people up top that make the decisions continue to look around and get us some help. I know we're supposed to get Robert Stevenson back at some point this year, but it would be nice if they could find us some more help. If you're the Angels front office, are you scrambling to help this team? Like, are you scrambling to give up valuable assets to plug the hole that Ben Joyce has left behind? I don't know if you are.
So if you understand the second part of that statement, then you can go back and understand the first part of the statement, and Wash is probably having fun. Right? Like, hey, we've gotten this far without Ben Joyce. Who's to say we can't keep going? And if the folks up top want to go out and get us some help, that'd be great. Who knows what we could do? Like that's how you have to know what. Like that's how you have to hear.
What the fuck does he have to lose?
Yeah. That's how you have to hear that. So that's kind of that's how I'm taking it. That's how I'm digesting that. Because what do you want? Like honestly, what do you want him to say? Like it feels it's so the relationship and the existence here between the front office and Wash is kind of like, well, we need somebody to manage, and Wash is like, and I will manage. I will fucking do that. And you know what? I'm gonna have some shit to say about what's going on around here. And the front office is like, yeah, you know what? We get that too, and we're just kind of gonna do what we do. And if you need to yell at us about it, fuck it, fine. We get it. We get it. Are we getting any help? No. It sounds like you guys are doing great down there. Keep chugging along, Wash. And he's going, we're doing just fine down here. We're riding Ben Joyce all the way. Well, guess we're not riding Ben Joyce anymore, boys. So whenever you'd like to. It just, I don't know.
Yeah. Poor Wash. What a legend.
Oh God, he's so good. He's such a treat. Like,
I love him.
For the manager meetings, like I get out and you listen to the other teams talk, you listen to the other managers and shit. And I just, Wash is a meeting that you just, you want to be around.
Well, I think that can only mean one thing.
Welcome back to Baseball's Dead Family Feud. I'm your man, Justin Havens. But I'm just one man. I represent so many here in the Baseball's Dead Family Feud production staff. Just a quick moment shouting out those people. Shout out to Jake Yazzie, obviously. Shout out to him every podcast. Shout out to Corey Brinson, obviously. Big part of what we do here. And shout out to the Discord. You guys are the ones that really make it happen. We give you the smiles, but it's really you guys giving us the smiles.
That's right.
As always, it's out of 100 BID fans. Dallas went last week, so that does mean that he's up first this week, and Jared will be our closer, unless you guys want to make a different decision. It's ultimately always up to you.
No, rules are the rules.
Rules are the rules. Dallas, you're up first. Jared, pop that top, baby. All right. Oh, yes. Last time was themed, I believe. It was all 1 to 10, how we feeling type of stuff. No theme here.
I like that.
Yeah, I did too. And we'll go back to themes, but not this week. Not this week.
Such a smug asshole.
Yeah. You said smarmy the other week. I know you meant charmy. Charming.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jake, are you ready?
Feels like
Let's do it.
All right. Leadoff batter, Dallas Braden. Question number 1 out of 100 BID fans. Here are the results. Name the greatest Canadian baseball player of all time.
Larry Walker.
Name the best defensive player in baseball right now.
Ooh. Bobby Witt Jr. It's not even close. I don't want to run out of time.
No, that's fine. Question 3. If you could pick one eligible pitcher to slot in behind Paul Skeens on the Team USA WBC rotation,
Scooble.
who would you pick? Thank you.
Scooble.
Question 4. How many active players would you say are, quote, locks to make the Hall of Fame? Active players.
10.
Final question. Name one of the top 5 active players in career home runs.
Carlos Santana. Well, hold on. One of the top. Say the question again. One of the top 5
active players playing right now in career home runs.
Yeah, Carlos Santana.
Thank you. That's it. Those are all the questions.
Okay. All right. That was
How do you feel you did?
not great.
Not as good as you would have liked to do?
No,
Hello.
not at all.
How
Not
did he
at
do?
all.
How did he do? Admirable.
Okay. Do we crack 100?
No.
Okay.
No, we're at 70.
Okay.
So you need 130. Quick math.
That
Right.
clears, yeah.
Yep. Are you ready?
I am.
No pressure. Question number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Name the greatest Canadian baseball player of all time.
Jason Bay. Joey Votto.
Jason Bay. Name the best defensive player in baseball right now.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
If you could pick one eligible pitcher to slot in behind Paul Skeens on the Team USA WBC rotation, who would you pick?
Scooble.
Eh.
Garrett Cole.
How many active players would you say are locks to make the Hall of Fame?
9.
Name one of the top 5 active players in career home runs.
Wait, say that again?
Name one of the
active
top
all time.
Yeah, just active players on the career home run leaderboard. Name somebody that currently rests in the top 5.
Altuve.
All right. Let's go over the answers. Here we go. All right.
I don't think we did well.
No. No, I don't think we did either.
No.
This one's going to be a nail biter, folks. Here we go.
Yeah.
Name the greatest Canadian baseball player of all time. Dallas said Larry Walker. That was the 3rd most common answer. That got you guys started off with 8 points.
How many points
Oh
would
my
Joey
God.
Votto have gotten?
Joey Votto. You know what, buddy? I'm going to give you Joey Votto.
Oh, what
Joey
the
Votto.
fuck? How does that happen?
No, I won't.
I said it quick.
I won't, but you'll see that it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. Joey Votto would have gotten you 35. That was the number 1 overall answer. Jason Bay was further down. He was tied for the 5th I could have been a lot worse. Tied for the 5th best answer, got you 4 points.
Recency bias.
Joey Votto, Freddie Freeman, Larry Walker, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Tyler O'Neill, Jason Bay received 4 or more votes each.
Freddie Freeman's Canadian?
Yeah.
What?
Eh?
Yeah, big
What?
Canadian.
How long's he been Canadian?
At least 3 years. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I think a few years now. No, he is. He's like, I think he's both. I think he's half Canadian.
Yeah, he
For
played
real?
for
Yeah, very
Team
possible.
Canada.
Yeah. I don't. That's not like a weird Discord answer. That's legit. All right. So slow start, no problem. Plenty of time to make up ground there. Name the best defensive player in baseball right now. You guys were like of similar minds here, but different answers. You guys said Bobby Witt Jr. and Fernando Tatis Jr. Nice dynamic young players. 7 and 6 points respectively. The number one answers were Rafaela and PCA. Unfortunately, 16 and 14 points. So you guys got another 13 there. So we've rocketed all the way up to 25 points total through 2 questions. You could pick one eligible pitcher to slide in behind Paul Skeens. Only 175 to go. On Team USA WBC rotation, who would you pick? Dallas said Skubal. That was the right answer. That was 45 points. So you guys are all the way up to 70 now as a group. Jared said Garrett Cole. That was unfortunately worth 2 points.
Oh,
That's crazy. It's the
Whoa,
2026.
he doesn't have a working arm.
2026 World Baseball Classic. He'll be fine.
Garrett Crochet, the number 2 answer. Zach Wheeler, Spencer Strider, Hunter Brown, Max Fried. Surprised Hunter Green didn't get more love. That would have been my first answer. It would have been a bad answer, it turns out. But we're up to 72 points with 2 questions remaining. Question 4. How many active players would you say are locks for the Hall of Fame? This is an interesting side question that we could get into sometime. But Dallas said 10. That got 10 points. So we're up to 82. Jared said 9. That was worth 3 points. So we're up to 85 points with 1 question remaining.
Oh, man.
We need only 115 points on this last question.
This is about to be a backgammon right now. Oh.
Name one of the top 5 active players in career home runs. Not our best work here. Dallas, an ominous sign of things to come, said Carlos Santana. No, wait. What was the question? Okay, Carlos Santana.
Carlos Santana?
Must have had the Baines meter on the mind, and really, who could blame him?
Carlos Santana?
God, come on. He's got over 300 homers right now, right? Come on.
Does he?
Yes.
Oh, he
No.
does. He does. He
Does.
He is in, if you could believe it, he is in the top 10 of active
Wow.
players. So it didn't technically matter whether you were right, whether you named somebody in the top 5, because it's what the audience answered. But for reference, Carlos Santana is 9th in active home runs with 328.
Wow. I never would have guessed that. Good for him.
So, yep. So you guys got 1 point out of Carlos Santana. So that's 86, I believe. So we are.
Santana.
So we needed 115.
And who'd you say, Jared? Altuve?
We now need
Altuve.
114.
Fuck.
Jose
Oh, fuck.
Altuve was Jared's answer. We need only 114 points.
Oh.
Survey says 0. 0 points for Jose Altuve. One of the few answers worse, I guess, than Carlos Santana. Jose Altuve is currently 25th on the active list at 233. The top 5, for those who are curious and listening, Giancarlo Stanton at 429, the only
He's
active
not
player.
active.
Well, no, he's an active player. Only player. Listen, man. If you'd named anybody on the fucking list, I could have given it to you. Giancarlo Stanton, the number 1, 429. Trout, 387. Goldie, 367. Freeman, 352. Nolan Arenado, 345. Machado, 345. They're tied for fifth.
I'm fucking 20 homers away, for fuck's sake. Come on.
But dude, I'm not. You're not penalized for being wrong. If somebody else had said Carlos Santana, if 40 people had said Carlos Santana,
if
you'd get 40 points.
114 more people would have said Carlos Santana, we'd be having a different conversation.
All right. Well, you guys, listen. It's called regression to the mean. You guys were red hot and you came crashing back. You just got an 0 for 5 with a 5K.
Yeah. I'm glad we both sucked though. Like that.
Yeah,
that
both sucked real hard.
That one was tough. How many total points do we have?
It's best not to. It's best not to focus on total points and things like that. And
we didn't get to.
It was 86. It was 86.
Oh,
because you needed 114, and then it was Altuve, and that was a 0. So that's still 86.
Man. Yeah, that was a tough round.
The toughest, the worst, I think, of all time.
Yeah, not even close.
Might have come a little hard. But sometimes you got to remind people who's in charge.
Yeah, where's Carlos Santana on that list? Fucking 6th?
Wait, on which list?
The
actual list?
The actual active homer list.
9th.
Or 9th, you said?
Yeah, it was Nolan Arenado and Machado tied for 5th, and then Harper, Judge, Santana, McCutchen is the top 10.
Jeez.
Yep. There you have it.
Well, that certainly was a round, wasn't it?
Yeah. We played Family Feud.
We did. We did. We did.
Kinda.
All right. Well, we're never doing that again.
That was terrible.
Yeah. Never playing with you guys.
That was absolutely terrible.
There's nasty rumors in the street that we're debuting a new segment on Monday, Dallas.
Oh?
Yeah. There's been a few people discussing it. A lot of it private discussions about the new segment that's debuting on Monday.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that. Yep. I didn't do a pick'em today because there was only 2 night games.
Yeah.
Slim pickings.
I think
I'm trying to win.
You guys are both back tomorrow with pick'ems, I believe. That's something to look forward to for the fans.
Yeah. Back tomorrow. Any nugs, Jay Hay?
Yeah, I got a few. This is like not a super sexy nug, but it functions as a way to shout out Jesus Luzardo, who currently leads baseball, at least pitchers in B-WAR, and is tied for the NL lead with pitchers in F-WAR. So there is a consensus there on some level. 2 flat ERA through 9 starts in terms of Phillies pitchers who have posted a 2 or lower ERA through the first 9 starts of a season. The only examples of that in the wild card era are Luzardo and, as we all remember, we were tracking Ranger Suarez at this time last year. Ranger Suarez last year, Nola in 18, Aaron Harang in 2015, a forgotten hot start, Oswalt and Holiday in 2010, Brett Myers in 05, and the Big Burrito in 1998. But, Luzardo was obviously a trade acquisition for the Phillies this offseason. I know the report came out that the Cubs had also expressed interest and then had concern about the medicals. Pending free agent, I believe, who is, as of right now, lining himself up for quite the little payday. So good for him. Wanted to shout him out. The White Sox won 3 straight games this season before the Orioles did. Aaron Nola is the first Phillies pitcher to allow 12 or more hits and 9 or more runs in a start of 4 or fewer innings pitched since Cole Hamels almost exactly 10 years ago, July of 2015. I think there's a separate conversation for another time, maybe on Aaron Nola and the struggles happening there, because I think that's a legitimately big problem for the Phillies. Antonio Senzatella, who is one of my favorite checks right now every time he starts, because the stat line really never fails to deliver. And last night was another one. He is the first pitcher to allow at least 74 hits with fewer than 25 strikeouts over a 9-start span since once again, 2 mentions in the same podcast for the harangatang, Aaron Harang. So just to put that together, that was also in 2015. So Aaron Harang started the season with a 1.82 ERA through 9 starts. And then in that same season, had a 9-start span where he allowed 74 hits and had 25 or fewer strikeouts. Talk about one of the all-time strangest seasons that you will ever see. I would highly recommend going to baseballreference.com and checking out Aaron Harang's 2015 season. He's the first to do so to start a season. That's Senzatella since Carlos Silva in 2006, one of the great unsuccessful free agent signings for the Mariners. Bailey Falter had a very weird start yesterday. He's the first Pirates starter to issue 5 or more walks in 17 or fewer batters faced, but still managed to allow 0 runs since Tom McCarthy, who we all remember, back on May 31st, 1908. The Red Sox, I know Jared does not want to talk about it, so I'm not going to ask for a response here, but the Red Sox are now 4-12 in 1-run games and 18-11 in all other games. That's a frustrating way to go about your business.
Can't win the close one.
They have more blown saves than saves.
That's tough, man. That's real tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, too bad.
It's fucked up, Dallas. I root for the A's. I want you guys to win. You don't want to see me win. That's crazy.
That's not totally true.
It's not.
It's partially true, but
I mean, there's some truth to that, but
yeah,
not in totality.
2 final nugs.
Yeah.
Both on Scooble. Third left-hander in MLB history to have a 7-start stretch featuring, well, I guess it's just one nug, really, 7-start stretch featuring at least 60 strikeouts and no more than 2 walks, joining Cliff Lee, who did so spanning the 2013 and 14 seasons, and Clayton Kershaw in 2016. So I know the Red Sox got 5 off of him yesterday. He still had 11 strikeouts and 1 walk, which just continues one of the most epic K to walk runs that we've literally ever seen. So, and those are the nugs.
Thank you, Justin Havens.
Yep.
Do you also have a final thought to take us into the weekend or no?
Do I have a final thought? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Juan Soto's return to the Bronx.
That's gonna be fun.
Yep. I think the Mets Yankees Subway Series has, I don't think, been at its zenith over the last, handful of seasons. And I think this season, with both teams being as legitimately, I think, at least good, maybe great, maybe very good as they are, both first place teams at the time of the matchup, I think that's got some sex appeal that it hasn't had. And the Juan Soto thing is just like, as we talked about before, this is what it's about, having 2 megastars in the same market, and maybe 3 if you want to include Francisco Lindor and all of that. But that one guy left for the other and is coming back to the team that he just left and helped take to the World Series, who are still doing well in his absence, as is his new team. I just think it's incredibly compelling baseball theater. And I don't think that's a New York bias. I don't think that's an East Coast bias. I think this is, in terms of this kind of stuff, I think this is about as good as it gets. And I'm looking forward to watching.
Dallas, any final thoughts?
No, I just want to say we should continue to push and pump up the idea of solidifying the WBC team with as many guys who not only, number one, want to be there, but we all got to do our part to make sure that they understand that this means a whole lot. And I know that might be a fruitless endeavor for some, because some are like, hey, you know what? Got the money. I'm not worried about it. Like, love a country, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean that much to me. Well, it means a lot to a lot of people. And I just would love to see the U.S. fully and wholly represented from a talent standpoint, because every other country, it feels like, gears up, gets excited about this time of year or what that stage represents. And I would really, really, really love to see the United States get behind the boys.
I like that.
Good.
Very excited for that.
Can I add a bonus final thought?
Mm-hmm.
Tony Kemp's retiring.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
Just announced. Yeah. So just shout out. I think we also missed a Matt Carpenter.
He
we
announced
did.
it live
Retired
on a
yesterday?
radio show, right?
Yeah, I think I forgot to include that yesterday. So just shout out those two guys. Matt Carpenter in particular was a legitimately high level MVP vote receiving quality player. And a part of meaningful teams in baseball history. So congrats to him on a great career, and happy trails to Tony Kemp as well.
Tony Kemp, Vandy. Yeah.
Vandy. Yep.
Yeah.
TK.
All right. We appreciate everyone watching and listening this week. We're through mid-May. Very excited for that series in the Bronx. I'm sure Yankee fans are going to handle it with class, as they always do. Classy, classy, classy fans. So enjoy your weekend of baseball. We appreciate you choosing us for your baseball coverage. And we'll be right back here on Monday with more Baseball is Dead. Enjoy.
Wow.